Hey, it's Ron McLean. Welcome to Hockey Talk on the Rock.
With Laura and Keith.
It's interesting.
So let's back up a second.
He played absolutely out of his mind.
It made no sense to me.
And now, here are your hosts.
We are back again right away with episode number 46, where we're going to focus on the hype around the expansion draft, which is tomorrow at 5, and I'm super stoked for it. And we both did a mock draft here, where we're going to put together our team that we pick based on who we think is the best pick / who they're going to pick, while meeting the proper requirements of like forwards, defense, and goalies. Talk a bit about it, and we're also doing this draft on the assumption that like there's no trades that happen, kind of thing. But I think afterwards we'll probably talk about maybe a little speculation we might have towards some trades.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about like the lists that came out first?
Yeah, sure. So there was a little bit of kind of news, let's say, or scandalous news that came out. I'm like, what day did it come out on now? Saturday?
It had to have been Sunday.
Okay, Sunday, yeah, when the lists were released. The biggest, most notable one, I guess, is Marc Bergevin leaving Carey Price exposed. Basically, now they're in a game kind of chicken where Bergevin doesn't think that Seattle is going to want to take on the cap hit of Carey Price. So he's $10.5 million for the next 5 years. He is 33 years of age. And what came out also on Sunday was that he was going to be seeing doctors for potential knee and hip, or is it just knee injuries?
I heard both.
Yeah, I think it's both too. So obviously there's a lot of teams that were pissed at Bergevin because of this, combined with the Shea Weber news. They just thought the timing was too convenient, and they're trying to basically make a mockery of this expansion draft. I will say that there's a lot of hurt feelings in Montreal about Tampa Bay obviously being so high over the cap. And I honestly feel like this is Bergevin's like wrath, like his way of getting back. He's like, okay, I'm not going to play by the rules either. We'll get to it in my expansion draft because I actually think there is a way that Seattle will take Price, even if he's injured. But we'll get to him.
In yours, did you have Montreal Price being the guy?
Yes.
Okay, so we're very different then, because I did not.
Yeah, I feel like most people haven't, and I'm prepared to be wrong. But I'll get into it when we get there. But like basically, for both Seattle and for Price, they would be pretty comfortable having him just because he is like not a local boy. He's from BC, but he played as junior in Washington State. His wife's from there. They live there in the off season. So if you want like a Marc-Andre Fleury to like market your team around, Price, even if he's not playing, is probably like a good guy to do it. That was kind of originally I had them taking Subban for the same reason. Whereas like he's probably not going to be like he's probably not going to contribute, but he's only going to play with you 1 year, so it doesn't really matter. Price obviously is different because he's got term left on his deal, but it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens if Seattle got Montreal to give them anything to not take Price, or if Seattle just looked at that contract and said no. But that is, I think, the biggest exposure of all of them.
Yeah, it's definitely the big one. There's probably one more I'll touch on in a sec, but I think with Price, like I'll take the other side of it and saying like the supposedly analytically driven organization that Seattle sounds to be. I don't see them taking Price based on the contract alone.
Yeah.
But I understand everything else from the jerseys and the marketing and the blah 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 and the Fleury success. But like Fleury didn't have that big contract and not that many years left on his contract. So
it's true.
I don't see it myself. So we'll get into it more. But the second one I'll just touch on real quick was we've talked recently about like the Tarasenko news in Seattle about how they were for a trade and how he's like unhappy how they dealt with the injury, and now like they've left him open, which I think it was pretty surprising to a lot of people as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of rumors out there too with Tarasenko that Seattle is going to pick him and then flip him to Philadelphia.
Okay, I didn't hear Philly, but I did hear somebody was going to pay a decent price for Seattle to hold a bit of his money.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, and I'd be pretty happy with that. I'd take the injury risk to bring him to Philly, to be honest.
Yeah, again, if he's not on his full cap, I feel like the risk is pretty low. But yeah, the two other ones that I'll just really quickly touch on that I was mildly surprised with was the Islanders exposing both Eberle and Bailey. And obviously this is because they're trying to shed cap. So if Seattle was to take one of those two players, it would probably help them out. But both those guys are pretty good.
Bailey's a UFA though, is he not?
No, he's
Oh, he's
got
not.
another year.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought it was only Eberle that was still on deal.
No, they're both locked up. I think one of them's for 2 years and one of them's for 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was somewhat surprising to me. And then the other one that I already touched on was, well, Toronto and then Nashville both protecting 4 defensemen. Those two kind of were puzzling for me.
Well, Nashville did 5.
Oh yeah, they did 5. I forgot about that.
That which was real odd.
Yeah, very very strange, and like especially after trading Ellis. Anyway, so those are two teams that I'll be interested in watching, like who Seattle picks from them, because like those $5 million contracts for Bailey and Eberle are high, but they're not like disgustingly high.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, well, let's kick it off, I think.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'll say the team, you do the pick, I'll say a pick, and if we got a comment, we'll throw it out, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
So starting with Anaheim, who do you got?
Yeah, this one I think was pretty straightforward. I took Hayden Fleury. He's 25-year-old defenseman. Hasn't lived up to his potential, but it's probably worth the risk.
And Francis drafted him in Carolina.
Yes.
I had Hayden Fleury too, for
Yeah.
what you said, plus the Francis familiarity thing.
Yes.
Arizona.
Okay, so this one I took like a little bit of time thinking about because I considered taking Christian Fischer because he's young and his cap hit's very low. But in the end, I'm going to take Michael Bunting, who is an UFA. But I feel like if Seattle wants to re-sign him, they probably can work it out, and he'll be cheap and a decent player for them.
I took Fischer.
Yeah.
I took the easy one.
Yeah.
Shoot cap hit, young guy.
Yeah.
Boston.
Okay, I took Jeremy Lazon.
Defense, right?
Yes.
I took Connor Clifton, lower cap hit.
Yeah, I thought about that, but we'll see what happens.
Buffalo.
Buffalo was hard. So I end up taking this 24-year-old defenseman, this William Borgen, because he's on his like entry level and he's making like no money. I thought about like Eakin and Gergensons or McCabe, but they all seem to make too much money. McCabe's a UFA, so I went with the young guy.
I almost went with Borgen because I read about him and how he like kind of had a breakout year last year, but I actually decided to spend a bit of money in Buffalo because it was a tough one. I went with Colin Miller.
Right, yeah.
Only because like the Vegas thing worked out for him and he hasn't played well in Buffalo and Buffalo sucks, so maybe he works out in Seattle. So I took Miller.
Oh, like get me out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, Calgary.
Calgary, yeah.
This one again, I feel like I just went with the rumors and I just went with Giordano.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'll weigh in on that at the end.
Okay, sounds good.
Carolina.
I took Jake Bean.
Everybody took Jake Bean, I think. I took Jake Bean.
Yeah, I thought about Niederreiter, but I
Me
feel like
too.
there's other forwards out there that are kind of the same level.
Yeah. Chicago.
Adam Gaudette.
Yeah, I saw that coming. You love you some Gaudette.
I just think there's too many storylines with him going to Seattle.
I'm not doing it. I actually took 5 goalies in this thing, and
Okay.
one of them was from Chicago. I took Colin Delia.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll explain at the end.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Colorado.
I took Donskoy.
Yeah, I got Donskoy too.
Columbus. I took Max Domi. Although now they're saying that Seattle doesn't want to take him, but I just think he's too intriguing. He's 26. He's a center. Like, even if they take him and flip him.
The centerman factor was a big thing I found when looking at my team, so I took Domi as well.
Yeah.
Dallas, I had to change my original pick. So what do you get?
So I took Alexiak, even though he's a UFA. I feel like if they take him, they will have worked out a deal with him before. So it's a bit of a risk, but
I looked at that one. I thought about it, but I didn't really take any UFAs.
yeah.
So originally I had Hero because I didn't know who to take.
Yeah.
and then I realized I need more D, so I went back and I put Sekera because he had a cheap
Okay.
cap hit. And like I found most of the defense I took were more offensively inclined anyway. So
Okay.
Detroit, we both got the same, I bet.
Yeah, stature.
Yep, we both put
Yeah.
Stetchy down. That'll be good for him to have a rival with Vancouver.
I know I'm excited for him, except I'm mad. Like again,
Yeah.
I've talked about it too much, the stature thing. But anyway,
Edmonton.
I took Tyler Benson.
Yeah, me too. It just sounds like he's gonna be a good player,
Yeah.
and they couldn't protect him.
Yes.
Do I even ask Florida?
Yeah, Chris Driedger.
Yeah, I mean, when it's like that's one we could have talked about last episode, basically about the re-signings or new signings, because it's basically out there that like Seattle has a 3-year, $3.5 million per
Yeah.
contract ready for Driedger, and they're gonna take him from Florida. So
Yes.
at least we know for sure we're gonna get one right.
Yeah.
LA.
Okay, I took Athanasio. There's a few guys on LA I feel like he could take, but he's an RFA. He's not making much money. He could be decent. He's still only 26.
Again, because I didn't really take any UFAs or RFAs, I looked at him, but I ended up taking Brendan Lemieux. Maybe
Yeah,
just
thought
as, like
about it.
a grit guy in the bottom 6.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
I think this one's pretty easy too. I took Capo Kakinen.
Yes, I also took Kakinen because I think they will definitely take him. I'm very surprised Minnesota protected Talbot.
Me too.
All right. Well, we talked about this quickly. Montreal.
Yeah, so I took Price. I'll kind of justify what I did with the goalies at the end.
Okay.
Because there is a method to my madness.
So again, I felt I needed a little bit of grit in my bottom 6, and Byron is a hard-working engine, so I took Paul Byron.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Nashville.
Nashville, I took Cal Yarncroft.
Yes, I also took Yarncrow because it seems like everybody did, and nobody wants to touch the centerman. I was like, oh, they need centerman. Maybe they will take a flyer on Ryan Johansson, but I still can't.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. I think, again, if there's trades, I could see them going after Johansson, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself, and then, that would mean they don't take Price in my mind, right? Like, they're only going to have one crazy big contract, I think, so I
Right.
could see it, but right now I'm not putting it.
Okay, so New Jersey.
Okay, so New Jersey I found really hard too.
Me too.
I ended up going with Andreas Janssen, even though his cap hit sucks. I just feel like he has the most potential out of anyone there. Like Butcher was the other person I thought of, but his cap hit's higher. They're the same age. I don't know.
So I had Butcher originally,
Yeah.
and then I swapped him for Janssen because I needed a forward, but also I found I had too many, again, I said earlier, offensive D-men or whatever.
Yeah.
So I found wingers, like good wingers, hard to come by in this.
Yeah, I agree.
Islanders.
Yeah, I took Eberle.
You took Eberle.
Yeah.
Woo. I took Kiefer Bellows because I think he's going to be a good young player.
That's true. I didn't even think about Bellows, but I could see that.
New York Rangers.
I took Colin Blackwell.
Yeah, I took Blackwell as well. Seems like that might be an easy choice. Ottawa.
Okay, this one was another one that I found really hard. And I ended up doing my, strategic way of taking a UFA. So I took the Zingle because, I thought about taking, Joey Decord, and I think maybe that is, the smarter pick. And then I was like, I feel like I have way too many goalies, so I was trying to find someone that didn't make a ton or that they could negotiate with, and I went to the Zingle.
Okay, I went to Cord. Again, I'll explain the goalie thing. The end. Philadelphia was a tough one for me.
Yeah, I think they're going to take a flyer here. Sorry, that was bad. I think they're going to go in on Shane Gostisbehere. I think that the coach, being from Philly, will play a role in this. And, $4.5 million is steep, but it's not super bad. And he's only got 2 more years on that contract now.
So I also took Gostisbehere because I feel like he has the best opportunity out of everyone to be like the power play quarterback they're going to need.
Yeah.
And like you say, the Hackstall thing, they do need wingers, and I can see them taking JVR because he's only got 2 years, and like he
Yeah.
would be like the net front power play guy they would also need. But
Yeah.
in the end, I went Gostisbehere.
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Pitt, I went with Zach Aston Reese. This one again I found hard. I thought a lot about Marcus Pedersen, but that cap hit sucks. I thought about Casey DeSmith. I think there's some weird stuff around DeSmith though, like with assaulting someone or something. So I don't know if they'd take him. And then like the rest of them, the cap hit's too high. So
All right, I went with Brandon Tanev
yeah,
again.
I feel like if Tanev's contract wasn't that long, I would take him.
Yeah, motor type guy.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I did take a UFA. My next one, San Jose. What do you got?
I took Donato.
He's UFA, right?
He's RFA.
Oh, okay. Well, I took him as well.
Okay, yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, I think that one's smart.
Ryan Donato.
Yeah.
RFA. St. Louis.
Yeah, this one I found tough because there's two players that I think make a lot of sense, but I ended up going with Vince Dunn over Tarasenko, just because he can be like a top pairing guy for them. He's young. His cap hit's not too bad. He's also an RFA.
I took Tarasenko. I
Yeah.
think either they're gonna keep him and give him a flyer, or they'll flip him.
Yep. Okay, Tampa. This one's interesting.
It is interesting. I took the easy choice. What'd you put?
Okay, I did not take the easy choice. I think if Tampa wants Seattle to take one of the guys making a lot of money, they're gonna have to give them something. So if they don't, I can see them taking Cal Foote because he's young. He doesn't make much money, and then otherwise, like if they claim someone with a lot of money, I think it's Yanni Gord of those four guys basically.
But your pick is Cal Foote.
My pick is Cal Foote.
Okay, I took Yanni Gord.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the centerman, one of the centermen they really need on that team.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I think the centermen, good centermen, were tough to find in this one.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Okay, I took Kerfoot. I feel like it's easy, but I don't know.
I actually took McCann.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a toss-up.
I feel like if it was me, like picking a team, I would take McCann over Kerfoot. But I've just heard so much about how Seattle loves Kerfoot. I'm like, okay, I'll just go with Kerfoot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Poland.
Cole Lind. Me too.
Yeah. And then
Washington.
Washington, I took Vanacek. I feel like there's a couple defensemen you could take instead, but I think Vanacek makes the most sense.
I took Vanacek as well. So final pick, Winnipeg.
Okay, so this one I actually found harder than it probably should be because I went down between Appleton and DeMello, and I ended up taking Mason Appleton because he's younger and cheaper.
Yeah, that was the choice, I think. Appleton or DeMello.
Yeah.
I took DeMello.
Yeah, I had DeMello up until like this afternoon, and I was like, no, gotta be Appleton.
After like the few adjustments I made along the way, mine ended up having a cap hit of 67.2 mil.
Okay, you're a little bit cheaper than mine. Mine's 70.6, but
Okay.
there's some RFAs in there that need to be re-signed, and I think they're gonna flip some players.
Yeah, I tried to stay cheap because they kept saying cap
Yeah.
space was going to be their thing. But anyways, I took 16 forward, the minimum 90, and I took 5 goalies.
Okay, yeah, we're pretty similar. I took 16 forwards, 10 defense, and 4 goalies.
Okay.
And my
So,
kind of
based on, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So my kind of justification with taking Carey Price, even though he's going to be potentially missing some time, is you can put that money on LTIR, and while you have him on LTIR, you have 3 NHL caliber goalies. So you have Kakinen, you have Dreger, and you have Vanacek. And so you can play 2 of those, probably Vanacek and Dreger, and then Kakinen can be your AHL goalie or whatever. And then once Price is ready to come back, you can flip one of those goalies for assets.
We have a similar theory. My thing for the post draft of what I drafted was I took the 5 goalies with the theory that you would take Dreger and either Kakinen or Vanacek as your number 1A or 1B with Dreger,
Right.
and then trade the other one, and then use Decord and Delia as kind of like your reserve AHL goalies. Because I don't think I can see any of Dietrich Kakkonen or Vanashek going to the AHL at this point.
I could see Kakkonen just because he's young,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
But I think the goalie thing they're gonna try and trade one of them, but
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
So like I said, this was all assuming no deals, but like I've got a couple I'll throw out and looking at it.
Yeah.
I had so last expansion draft, Vegas made 11 deals.
Yeah.
Would you pick over or under for how many this time?
Under for sure.
Me too. What would be your number?
I think I'll say 5.
Okay. So I had what I thought was like 5, I think for sure, and then maybe 2 more. So maybe I'll go 7.
Okay. Okay.
And so like I'm not gonna go big on all, but I feel like Minnesota, even though they got burned last time, might have a deal to keep Kakkonen.
Yeah, I agree with them.
Calgary, part of me really thinks they might have a deal to not lose Giordano, but like if they don't have that happen, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Right. Yeah.
Colorado, I kind of felt like might have a deal to keep one of their guys, but I don't know. Tampa Bay intrigues me the most, I think, and I
I
kind of
think
feel like
Tampa for sure has to have something that they're
I
gonna.
feel like too because they won the cup and they're like their first round pick's gonna be number like the 32nd or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like Tampa's the most likely of any team to have a deal in place.
Yeah.
And also Washington, I think, because they have a lot of decent players exposed, and I don't know how quick they want to lose Vanashek.
Yeah, especially because him and Samsonov looked like to be a pretty good tandem last year. I could also see that maybe them, taking like Justin Schultz or something. But we'll see.
Or
I
Brendan
my
Dillon.
thought, other than the ones you just said, is I think Nashville might do something to get rid of one of their big contracts.
Nashville, yeah, okay. I didn't have them. The last 2 I had as my like real maybes were Pittsburgh. I kind of have a feeling Pittsburgh might pay to have Seattle take Zucker and his 2 years and
Right.
5.5.
Yeah.
I feel like that one's a possibility, and I kind of feel like Winnipeg might try to keep DeMello and Appleton.
Yeah, I could see that. And Winnipeg is another team that gave up quite a lot in the Vegas draft to have them take like, I think it was like Chris Thorburn or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. I could also see that. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens tomorrow night, particularly about Carey Price, because if that does happen, it's just going to be like the most chaotic thing I think I've ever seen in the NHL. But I actually agree with you. I think it's still more likely it doesn't happen. I'm just betting on chaos right now.
It'd be fun. It'd definitely throw a big wrinkle in a lot of things, but
Yeah.
time will tell in like 22 hours. So
Yeah, it's coming up fast.
So we'll do another episode afterwards and talk about how good or bad we are at this whole guessing game, and what trades transpired that we'll find out as the thing goes on. See if our guesses of 5 and 7 trades will be anywhere close to the mark, and apparently it's gonna be quite the show of athletes and celebrities and whatnot showing off the picks. So
I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. So yeah, we'll be back for episode 47 after this whole crazy show happens tomorrow. So thanks again for listening.